The NHL rolling out its first installment of its central scouting list for the 2022 NHL draft, in which players are assigned letter grades related to where they would expected to be picked for the NHL draft. And in total, 32 QMJHL players receiving letter grades. We won't go through all of them, but we'll go through all the A's and B's. Two players getting A's are Quebec forward Nathan Gaucher and Gatineau defenseman Tristan Lanoux, who of course was a first-round pick in the Q, going number 1 overall. Three players receiving B grades: Drummondville defenseman Maverick Lamoureux, Gatineau winger Antonin Vereau, and Quebec defenseman Wisław Komarov. Komarov was drafted 34th overall in the import draft, and the 17-year-old has not yet played with the Ramparts. He just landed in Quebec City, so he's getting ready to make his debut. In total, 27 players were given C grades. Now, to save some time, we'll just go through the ones from the Maritime Division. You probably heard by now, the Eagles getting a pair of defensemen on the list, F.J. Buteau and Jeremy Langlois. Moncton has forwards Jonas Tybel, Maxime Barbashev, and Johan Loshing on the list, along with goaltender Vincent Filion. Halifax also with 4 players on the list. They include forwards Marcus Vidicek, James Swan, Jordan Dumais, along with defenseman Jake Furlong. Bathurst has a pair of players on the list, forward Lane Hinckley and defenseman Marc-Andre Gaudette. And the other player from the Maritimes, you heard about this already, forward Sam Oliver, is given a C rating. So congratulations to all those guys. Great to see a number of Q players represented. 32 players, one for every team in the NHL. Of course, throughout the year, Central Scouting will release multiple rankings, so we'll watch to see how those letters change as the year goes on. And again, an A indicates a player is expected to be picked in the first round, B indicates round 2 or round 3, and C indicates between round 4 and 6. QMJHL released its Team of the Week for last week, and there is some local content here as well. Forwards are 18-year-old Joshua Waugh of the Sherbrooke Phoenix, who had 8 points in 3 games, and former Eagle Felix Lafrance, the 20-year-old, had 8 points in 3 games for Chicoutimi. Both of those players were also named to the CHL Team of the Week, and Felix Lafrance was the Q's Player of the Week. The other forward on the Team of the Week for the Q is 18-year-old Xavier Bourgault of Shawinigan, who had 7 points in 3 games. 2 defensemen this week, one also named to the CHL's Team of the Week. You know who it is, Eagles defenseman Jeremy Langlois. Just talked about him getting that C ranking. Well, he had a big week with 4 goals and 2 assists in 4 games. The other defenseman named to the Q's Team of the Week is overage blue liner Louis Crevier of the Quebec Ramparts, who had 4 points in 3 games coming off of injury. The goaltender of the week was also named to the CHL Team of the Week, so it was a good week for Q Stars. That's Jan Bednar of the Bathurst Titans. He had a record of 2-0, a goals against of 193, and a save percentage of 942. Trying to keep tabs on players who are hurt around the league this year, and obviously we like to report as few injuries as possible. We do have a few to talk about. Of course, we've been talking on the broadcast about Brett Budgell being listed as 1 to 2 weeks with an upper body injury. He had 58 points in 40 games last year, and this year is in his 20-year-old season with the Islanders. We just saw the Shawinigan Cataracts at Center 200, and a couple of players who were in that game have since gone down with what looks to be minor injuries. 19-year-old forward William Veillette is day-to-day with a lower body injury. He has 5 points in 7 games this year. Overage blue liner Zachary Massicott is day-to-day with an upper body injury. He had 13 points in 40 games last year, and of course, he came over from Rimouski to Shawinigan, so a couple players that are out on the sidelines. Hopefully, quick recoveries to all of those gentlemen. As we said, we like to see as many star players in the league healthy as possible, and players throughout the lineup, of course, for that matter. One suspension to tell you about: 18-year-old Blainville-Boisbriand forward Alexis Brisson has been given 2 games for checking from behind. He's off to a good start this year, 5 points in 8 games this season. Minor trade to tell you about: 18-year-old forward Tommy Cormier has been dealt from Chicoutimi to Victoriaville in exchange for a 9th-round pick in 2023. He appeared in 11 games last year for Chicoutimi, was originally a 14th-round pick in 2019. Reminder, players who are not overagers or imports can be traded as long as they are not on a team's active roster, and they are limited as to the amount of games they can play until after Christmas, at which point they can be added to a team's full roster should that team choose to do so.